Hey everyone, welcome to Pai's Kitchen. Today we are going to make a Vietnamese dish with a super fun name, shaking beef, or what they call bo Luc Lac. Now this dish, I love it so much. When I used to be a restaurant chef, I put it on the menu and it was super popular, so I'm happy to be sharing it with you today. So think of these as little marinated steak cubes that are so flavorful, goes great with rice, and it's so easy to put together, totally weeknight dinner material. Let's get started. Let's look at the beef. Now, as you'll see, this dish doesn't have a whole lot going on other than the beef, so it's very important that you use good quality beef. So I am using ribeye here. It's one of my favorite cuts, nice and tender, but also flavorful. Lots of marbling going through. If you want, you can do tenderloin if you want a little fancy, or sirloin as well. Anything that you would like in a big steak form would work for this, all right? And then I just cut them into about 1-inch cubes, bite-sized cubes. Now the marinade is the trio of my favorite sauces, oyster sauce, and some soy sauce. And of course, you gotta have some fish sauce. And to stick with the theme, I am using Vietnamese fish sauce for this. There we go. A little bit of sugar just to balance out the saltiness. This is sort of my trick, but I love to add just a little bit of black soy sauce into it. And black soy sauce is not very salty, but it is very dark, and it's just gonna make everything look that much more scrumptious. If you don't have it, you can substitute dark soy sauce, but then you'll need to cut down on your regular soy sauce measurement, because dark soy sauce, like Chinese dark soy sauce, is a little saltier. And now I'm gonna add some garlic to this, and I'm gonna use my handy dandy microplane to get my garlic super fine so it's well distributed, basically liquefied into that marinade. Or make a paste with your knife, whatever you'd like. And then of course we got beef, so you're gonna have to add some black pepper because you just can't have one without the other. Give that a good mix. Now as you stir, you start to notice that all that pooling liquid is less and less on the bottom. That's a good thing. You want all that sauce to absorb into the beef. Now, I like to let this marinate 20 minutes, 30 minutes, really not a long time. I've done it where I let it marinate overnight, and the salt in all the sauces kind of almost cures the beef a little bit, and the texture is not as nice. So this is a situation where it's actually better to marinate for less. A few hours is okay. So that's the meat. I'm gonna let that sit, and I just wanna show you my tomatoes for a second. So I'm using cherry tomatoes for this to add some color and just contrast of acidity. You don't have to, you can do big tomatoes. You don't have to add any vegetables if you like, but if you want to do cherry tomatoes like me, what I like to do is poke them with a knife so you create a bit of an opening, because what happens, I'm going to throw these into the wok briefly to get them heated up, but if there's no opening, sometimes the juice inside gets really hot and steamy, and then you eat it and that hot juice explodes in your mouth. Like it's not a pleasant experience. So to prevent that from happening, you give it a little bit of opening to prevent cherry tomato bombs from going off. So before we cook, I'm gonna just put a little bit of oil, just cooking oil. I'm using avocado oil here, just to get all the pieces evenly coated in oil, because I'm not gonna do too much tossing around once it's in the wok. Just a little bit of oil in there. Ooh, that wok heated up really fast. Okay, I got just a tiny bit of oil in there. And then I'm gonna just drop the beef in, but instead of pouring everything in, I'm just gonna do one by one because I don't want too much excess marinade sort of pooling around and it can burn. Okay, and now I'm gonna let that sear. Don't move them. It's not time to shake quite yet until it has a nice browning on the bottom side. And then when you have that, then you shake the pan around to toss the beef around, and that's where the shaking beef comes from. And we pray that the smoke alarm is not gonna go off in the middle of this. Okay, I got some nice browning. I pick up my wok and I give it a shake. Woo! Let's do that again just because it's fun. There we go. So now I go in and I make sure I flip anything that didn't really flip to the other side. Oh, I did pretty good there. Most of them flipped to the other side. I'm gonna throw in my tomatoes right now so they have some time to cook. And now at this point you can be done if you want them rare, If you want medium rare, whatever, then it's up to you at this point when you want to pull the beef off. And now, because we already have some browning going on, you can shake the pan as much as you want to get the tomatoes coated, to get, you know, to get things moving, because it's fun. All right. I kind of want these still pretty pink in the middle, so I'm going to cut it. And just like that, fastest dinner ever. So in the restaurant, I serve this with like a little fennel salad with a vinaigrette. You can do that if you want, but to keep it simple, I've just got some butter lettuce here, just something to munch on to cut the grease. And then the beef goes right on it. The smell right now is irresistible. Smells so good. Now, because this is really rich and, you know, there's fatty beef in there, a little bit of pickles is nice to cut the grease. So I've got here just some pickled red onion. It's really easy. I'll include the instructions in the written recipe, but it's like the easiest pickle you can ever make. But if you have sauerkraut and you like that, you can serve that with that if you want. Pickled mustard greens, for those of you Asians out there that's got some pickled mustard greens in the house. But pickled red onion is also very pretty, so I like to add that on. There we go. And then you save the rest for on the side. And then, so I like it just like this, but sometimes you see it served with a dipping sauce. And the dipping sauce is simply a mixture of salt, black pepper, and then some lime. So I'll just squeeze some lime right on top of here. A lot of times what I'll do, because I do like the lime, I will just serve it with a wedge of lime, and then you can squeeze that directly on top, because I don't feel like it needs any more salt in here, but just showing you an option, something you can do, and that is it. Oh, yes. And there isn't a lot of sauce in this dish. That's exactly what you want. You want all that flavor on the beef itself. Now I'm just gonna cut one open just to show you the doneness that I have, but again, you can make it as rare or well done as you like. So, oh, mine is just so perfectly pink. My God. Make sure I get a piece of pickled onion on there. The smell of charred beef. I'm gonna follow up with a tomato. On the other side of my beef. So good. Oh, that beef, so perfectly tender, super flavorful. I mean, I'm telling you, that combination of oyster sauce, soy sauce, and fish sauce, like, cannot go wrong in so many different situations. And it's so easy. And if you're a meat lover, guarantee you this is it right here. So I hope you give this a try. The recipe, as always, will be on paiskitchen.com, and when you make it, send me a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so you don't miss an awesome recipe like this. And make sure you also click that little bell icon so you get a notification when I post a new video. And if you love the show and you want to support us, as always, you can check out our Patreon page. The link is in the description below, and I will see you next time for your next delicious adventure. Turn on all the fans!